It is not hyperbole when I say that if I could choose one concept to coach a leader around, that regardless of the outcome they want to create, hey, we want to double our revenue, I want a more cohesive team, I want a more enjoyable workspace, we want to deliver at a higher level, we want to grow, we want whatever we want to gets filled in the blank, it would be this concept, agreements versus expectations. There are so many, it's so interesting because I have clients that come to me and they'll tell me about a story, they'll tell me about something going on, and you will see this in the laser sessions. I promise you it will come out in the work we do together, that people will bring scenarios, and I'll simply ask, great, what agreement did you have in place? And they'll say, well, they know, or, well, anybody knows. Well, anybody with the least amount of common sense would understand, right? And when I hear that as a coach, I don't get moved too much. I'm like, cool, so it sounds like the answer to the question was we didn't have an agreement in place. Most leaders don't like being disappointed. I love disappointment. I love disappointment. When my clients show up and say, hey, I was disappointed in this person, or disappointed in this outcome, or disappointed in this situation, I enjoy disappointments, not because I want my people to be disappointed, but because if we're disappointed, there's an opportunity for us. I'm a long-time entrepreneur. I started my first business a year out of college. And my second business was an e-commerce company. And we had over 4,000 products. We sold anything and everything for college students living on campus. And we shipped all over the country. And this is kind of like as e-commerce, like it's just at the point where we're starting to trust, like, am I gonna put my credit card number into this computer and expect it not to end up in some other country or with some crazy charges on it? So e-commerce was becoming more popular. And it was fascinating owning a business where you engaged with people that you had zero relationship with, that you never spoke to, you never talked to, you never really interacted with. Just kind of a name came through, said, hey, I want these things and we're gonna pay you this much and send them to this address. And that was the extent of the relationship we had with 98% of the people we served. And as the business grew and we built our customer service department, I used to get really excited when the phone would ring. Because I realized that, for the most part, people had expectations. I'm gonna order this thing, they're gonna get it right, they're gonna ship it to me, it's gonna show up in 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And we had opportunities to wow them and touch points we could focus on, but for the most part, like the best we'd ever do is meet their expectations. Right? The thing came, nobody get excited, or it's just like, okay, the thing did, right? Amazon shows up at my door, it's like, yeah, it's supposed to be here in 2 days, and it's here in 2 days, it's great. I don't high five anybody, I don't celebrate, I don't text, hey, you won't believe this thing that just happened. Right? It's Amazon meets my expectations. Then I really notice when they don't. And I used to tell my customer service team, hey, when people call in, this is a real opportunity to shift the experience that people have, to shift how people see us, to shift how people experience us. And now we get to talk to them. We get to have a relationship with them. We get to serve them and help them. We get to flex a little bit. We get to show them who we are, regardless of how upset they are, how frustrated they are, or why they're calling. These disappointments, the reason I like disappointments is because for all of us, if there's a disappointment, there's an opportunity for us to make a request. And if we can make a request, we can create an agreement with somebody, right? My one-to-one clients, they're sometimes surprised because they engage with me, they say, cool, we're gonna be on this journey for the next 6 months or a year. And the first thing we do is we spend 90 minutes, sometimes almost 2 hours, walking through an agreement on how we're gonna show up in the relationship, on what showing up fully looks like, on how we treat time, on how we treat each other, on how we treat homework, on how we make requests, on what we will and we won't do. Because I don't play in the expectation play. I have zero interest in expectations. Right? Because I don't want to set myself up to be disappointed. I could sit here and say, okay, we got 15, 16 people in the room. I mean, people have been in these groups before. They know what's up. Everybody, I expect people to be in here. So take what we just did. We're going to be back at 11:20. if you all had come and sat down, it's 11:22, it's 11:23, and I looked around the room and I said, okay, so let's talk about time. And I'm going to share with you what I expect of this group when it comes to time and how we return to a group, how we return to the room. Does that feel good to anybody? Right. When was the last time somebody walked into your office and said, hey, here's what I expect, and you got excited? You said, oh, I've got open listening. Go on, tell me, Nancy, what do you expect from me? This is going to be great. Like when I hear that, you almost get defensive from jump, right? And expectations can be so toxic. And so this will come up again. We'll talk more about this theme. But I thought a really powerful way for us to start this 6-month journey was to create some agreements with the group so that we can go on and start to drive out. People are funny, right? There are people that when you say 11:30, like if you're not there by 11:25, you're late. There are other people that you say 11:30, and there's not really a difference between 11:30 and 11:33. Well, who's right? Who's wrong? Again,
depends.
What's it?
5 minutes early sometimes.
Right. So I mean, and it's a generation thing. It's a dad was a captain in the Marine Corps thing. It's a right. There are all these things that influence your relationship with time, and we just see it differently. So you can see that. Hey, I'm going to lead this team, and what happens? Leaders get frustrated. Well, so and so is always 2 minutes late. They're never on time. Right? I showed up 5 minutes early, and they're not here when they're supposed to be here, when they say they're going to be here. They knew the meeting started at this time. And in their minds, they're like, yeah, I mean, of course they said 11:30, but I mean, the meetings never really start till 11:40. Right? So what's the big deal? I'm still kind of early. Right? So this idea of expectations versus agreements, this is one that I've seen as people, as leaders, as teams, start to shift out of the expectation space and more into the agreement space. Things just move. They become more efficient. There's fewer misunderstandings. And it's less personal. Right? Because if we have a conversation and we make an agreement, hey, can we both agree that our meetings are going to start at 11:30 on the dot, and that means that we're in our chair by 11:30, then when somebody comes in 11:32, I can have a conversation with them and simply ask, we had an agreement that we start at 11:30 on the dot. I noticed we were a couple minutes late. Do we need to take another look at the agreement? And most people are going to be like, no, that's on me, my bad. And just let it go. It's no longer personal. It's no longer, what's wrong with you? Why weren't you in your chair at 11:30? We talked about this. Right? It's just a different energy. So it's a way, agreements are a really powerful way for us to not make this personal, just get on the same page. And if somebody can't agree to something, they can tell us in the negotiation phase, hey, can we agree to this? Here's why I can't agree to this. And then we talk about it. All right? Agreements are co-created. So I want us to co-create a set of agreements that will drive how we show up in here, how we work together. Can we spend some time doing that this morning? Awesome.